Hello viewers, welcome to another edition of our literary program. Today we have a very delightful guest with us because she has travelled all the way from Dimapur, in fact, to be a part of this program today. Yes, she is Bobita Rai. Now, Bobita has been into writing for over 10 years. She writes poems specially, but also has been delving lately into short stories. Her two published books on poetries are, one is titled Mirrors, which she has published in the year 2022. Another one in the year 2025, which is called Hushed Exhibit. We will be trying to know why is it Hushed Exhibit. The name seemed a little interesting. Well, Bobita happens to be a very keen observer of nature, and she also believes in critiquing the contemporary world. Incidentally, she was a science student till her graduation, but she shifted towards literature because that beckoned her. She wanted to understand literature a little better, and she did her post-graduation in literature, and she in fact is a gold medalist. Well, she also says that writing is a therapy for her, and she would like to contribute because it helps people to understand their surroundings and to understand themselves a little better too. So that's Bobita Rai for you in jest. And now I'll be introducing her to each one of you. So hi there, Bobita. Thank you so much for coming, for traveling. You know, it is such an honor for us really that you could make time for us, and that you were so keen to be a part of this program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you once again for having me, and yes, it's been a journey, and today as I sit here, I also look at this timing as a journey of my life. I want to live in the moment, and I have been doing this ever since I got to know myself. So today I'm here through your program, program, and I'm excited to share a little bit of myself.
Absolutely, and we are so happy really. I mean, what took you to writing, Bobita?
Writing. Yes, when I think about writing, I remember my late father. I remember a particular incident. I was flipping through the pages of Sun magazine. And there used to be stories, short stories and poetry. On one occasion, I asked my father, can I also write like one of them? He said, why not? And that time I was in class 5. And that was the nudge that I needed. Of course, for decades I started writing as a closet writer, sometimes tearing off pages, throwing it into the dustbin. But I took my work seriously ever since I started preserving them in a notebook. So that happened in 2014 when I was going through something. So it was a therapy for me. Poetry is therapeutic because I found solace in what I was doing. I found a medium of expression for my emotions, and that began another journey that pushed me into, having the audacity to think that I can also publish my own writings.
I like the word that you've chosen, audacity. We need to be audacious sometimes, right? Otherwise we will not go places, we'll be still in one statutory position, I suppose. Taking risks in life and is so important, right?
Definitely.
You have already published 2 works, as I can see. One is called Mirrors in 2022. Another one is titled, with that title really I thought sounded very interesting, Hushed Exhibits last year. Tell us about these 2 books.
Okay. My first book, Mirrors, I would honestly say that sometimes I cringe at the choice of poetry that I have selected for this book. Because this being my first book, I had no experience how to choose the right kind of poems for my first book. And so later on when I started reading, I felt like I should have selected some other, because I had a collection of more than 200 poems.
Maybe when you have other editions you can change it there.
So I felt like I should have selected some
so this Mirrors, what does it have? Does it have a collective of all your writings and thoughts, or have you dealt in some particular subjects?
Yes, this book also has 3 themes: expression, emotion, and The other one is imagination. Well, you know what? After writing this book, I felt like poets are misunderstood. Because what I have written in this book is not personal.
Okay.
But I am a person. I have empathy. Empathy is at the core of my writings, whatever bit. And so because of that, I'm able to step into the shoes of other people and personalize objective experiences that becomes my experience. So when this book came out, people thought that it's my story because I have dealt with themes and poems that people would hardly talk about.
Okay.
And so when they read these poems, they started saying that this is about my life. And that is why I say that poets are the most misunderstood people. So there is a particular poem called Scandalized.
Okay.
And as you know, I am a keen observer of human nature.
Behavior, okay.
So this poem, Scandalized, is not about me.
Okay.
But then it's a general poetry that I have written about the grace of God.
Okay.
And the scandal that takes the real life out of a human being and comes grace. So this poem I have written on that theme, but this has been taken in
As
a
it
very
is
different
been-
note.
Yeah. So why don't you just read it for us so that we also understand, find ourselves maybe in it.
So Scandalized, a bucket of scandal splashed on me. I'm stained in scarlet red, rubbing myself for subliminal cleansing. I look like Haiti with a lobster face. My carefree world hijacked by strangers, traversing the periphery of my venery, I'm coerced into to swallow a sniggering cup of contempt, dumped in absolute mockery. Malice ravaged me. I choose to stand in utter silence, sense validation. Fie, a scandal cannot be as scandalous as the scandal of grace. So my perspective, my worldview is that there is God, and God is gracious. So for every scandal that we have, the inner scandal that we do not reveal to the world, there is a scandal of grace. There is grace for us, and that's how we move ahead in life.
Absolutely.
So this is the context. So this is just one example of how I have personalized objective experience and made it mine.
How do you choose the words? Because some of the words are not very used very commonly. So do you read yourselves, and how do you come across such words?
I'm into reading.
Yeah.
So I think this is my vocabulary.
Okay. And it is important, isn't it, to read, because only
Yes.
when you read, your worldview opens up.
Yes.
Your words also becomes a bit more maybe refined.
Yes.
That can be used. How important is reading for
Reading is
for
very
an author, say,
important.
for instance?
Reading is very important because when we don't read, our worldview is so small. In order to broaden our worldview, we need to read.
Yeah.
And we need to have a broader outlook of life, and reading gives us that. So reading enables us to see the world from the lens of another person or another people group.
Yeah, that's true. But then talking about inspiration, like this is one such, you said that you observe human attitude or behavior, and that's how you pen your thoughts. But then are there other inspirations that you probably also find, especially in the place that you come from?
Yes, definitely. Inspiration doesn't come from one particular set of things or people or place. Sometimes inspiration comes from an ant just moving. I see an ant moving, and then I start writing a poetry in my mind.
Okay.
So it happens in my mind. I'm driving, and then poetry happens in my mind. And so I'm a random poet. My poetry is raw and random, and I don't make efforts to change the rawness because I'm a raw writer, and I want to keep that raw things.
Yeah, absolutely.
as it
Because,
is.
you know, I think none of us are so refined, really. I mean, if I was to understand a poem, if it's too refined, I would not find myself in it, right?
Yes.
Because we all are not very refined, as I said. So we will, I think, enjoy something that is more raw, so that we understand it better, right?
With flows.
Yeah, with flows.
We are flowed.
Absolutely,
We are flowed, and yes, I would like to let the world see the flows. We have reached a point where to be perfect is not a perfection. Perfection is imperfection. I would rather be imperfect than be perfect. I'd rather be flawed than be a picture perfect person.
Which is again an imagination, which is not real, because nobody really can be perfect, right? Everybody has flaws in some form or the other. Now let's come to your other book, which I can see right in front of us. It is called Hushed Exhibit.
Yes.
Now why have you termed this book as that? Named it
I
such?
felt like the world has become so superficial that we are so focused, more focused into the external things of life. We do not check our behaviors. We do not check, and then we put on the mask for so long that we end up thinking that those masks are us. So I have dealt with some, not some, but many, and I have also critiqued some incidents that happened in Manipur and in Gaza Street. Then in Oting, there is a village in Mon where there was a massacre of 14 young people on mistaken identity. So I'm trying to be a voice in my own small way, just to nudge the stillness that we have in this world. The stillness that comes to too much of being into the world, being too busy in this world, that we end up not knowing who we are. So there's one particular poem here called Sarcasm. Once I was reading out this poem, and you know what? Sometimes my poetry pinches and pricks the emotions of other people, because what I have written is what we are doing. People don't want to be sarcastic, I believe, but we end up becoming sarcastic. And so to put a check on that, I've written a poem. So this Hushed Exhibits is mostly about human behavior, my observation on human behavior, how we behave, and interpretation in the form of written words.
So they're hushed, yet you're trying to exhibit them.
Yes, I'm trying to exhibit.
Yeah, wonderful. All right. So this is a collection of what kind of poems, really?
This is, I have 3 themes here, and all the 3 themes, the first one is called Evidence.
Okay.
It is evidence of who we are.
Okay.
The evidence in this title, Evidence, I have talked about our identity, our identity as a person, and how we behave like clowns. Then when we are uncovered, how our horns are visible to the world, and the evidence of us as being a chemical, physical, just a mixture, blending of physical, chemical, everything, and then just that awareness, then escapism, how we try to escape from the troubles that we have, or how tainted we are, how flawed we are. So this Hushed Exhibits is a collection of poems that wants to nudge the hearts of people. Of course, the intention was not to be didactic, but in some way it has ended up being didactic. So in the second section called the Heartstrings, these are close to my heart. These are my real feelings.
Okay.
Then there is another section called Uncover, where I have written about rape in Manipur, in depression, then grief, then suicide. All of these issues that people don't talk about. Then gossip. How harmful gossip is.
Can be.
Then there is a particular poem called Unpretentious, which is me. And Queer, which is about the LGBTQ+. Then Entitled, which is about this a group of eunuchs. So this is how I have written this collection. So these are not the topics that people would love to talk about or deal with. And yet it's there, it's simmering. It's just simmering in an unspoken way. And so this Hushed Exhibits is...
Yeah, what I understand is that, you are not only a very deep and thinking person, but you worry also about so many, situations around us, right? And you're bold enough to bring it out, to speak on it. Because we all want to be, as you said, pretentious, right? We want to be nice. We don't really want to show the world, and once those horns comes out, again we try to cover up those horns, right?
Yes.
But then have you over the years been influenced by certain writers, certain poets who have also influenced your way of writing? Have you been reading other people's works?
Mostly I'm a fan of Keats,
Keats, okay.
then William Wordsworth. Those are the two poets
Yeah.
that I'm really...
But they write more on the romantic, on nature
Yes,
and
yes.
romance, right? They are from the
Yes, but
romantic
then-
age.
yes, from the romantic age. And yet, I look to them as an inspiration. Then William Black. William
good.
Black is close to my heart.
Okay.
Because his Songs of Innocence has really done something to my heart. Just maintaining purity of heart is so important. So whatever I write, I try to write with a little bit of empathy. So as I have written in this book, also in the prologue, if you read the prologue, you'll understand what I mean. Whatever I write, I do it with empathy.
So let's find yourself here now. Which is the poem that you will like to share with us quickly? Something that really talks about the harsh reality of life, maybe, which we are trying to cover up.
Gossip? It's a gossip. There are too many, but I'll just read out this gossip and sarcasm.
Okay.
Because these are things that goes on in every society. Gossip, and this is to stir the conscience of man. Because we end up gossiping. The whisper of dark, the poker face disguised, loitering in broad daylight to sip into your soul, like harmless words that crawl, only to corrupt in the dead of night, mad barren like a desert, when the heart is robbed of its innocence. Then sarcasm. I'm a subtle venom, an armor to erect a defensive wall. It's their mechanism, but I'm the bullet. They shoot me right into each other's heart to demean, belittle, and mock. At times it becomes sadistic and vile. Most of the times, jokingly cruel. I can skillfully rip apart. I'm sharper than a knife. I stab with my action. I would simply lie unseen in a corner, but hardly given a rest. Sometimes I wish to be completely erased. They named me sarcasm, perhaps to disguise their malice.
Nice, beautiful. I like the choice of words that you're using, you know, and it somehow cuts quite deep, right? If one has to read it.
So, we have a WhatsApp group where people are so into people. We live in a world where the culture is that if you use sarcasm, people think that you're witty. No, it's not. Sarcasm is not wit. People with wit have empathy. Sarcasm is cruel. So there was so much of the sarcasm going on, and then I posted this poem, and then everybody became silent. So I felt better because it spoke to the hearts of people. So I want to do that.
Yeah, sometimes a reality check is so important, right?
Yes.
You said that, writing is therapeutic, definitely, and a powerful medium, to nudge the conscience,
Yes.
So what is it that you see around you which bothers you so much, and which you want to poke, you want to bring that difference to make things a little differently?
So the themes that I have dealt with here in this poem, in this collection, are the ones, and there are more, like greed, corruption, injustice.
Absolutely.
Then,
you spoke about rape also, you said, right?
Yes, ravaged. It happened in Manipur. How Manipur was in trauma, especially women. How vulnerable. If I were in Manipur, what would have happened to me? From that perspective. So Ravaged is a poem that I have written about the rape that happened, and that woman was stripped naked by a group of men, and she was paraded along with them. So this is not one incident. There are so many. And so it really made me broken. It broke my heart.
Yeah.
And so this is a poetry that I have written with rage in my heart. Because I want the world to see that there are people, there are women who will speak. We need to speak.
Absolutely,
Yes.
that's true.
And
I know
this is one incident. Another one is depression. People don't want to talk about depression. I want to cover these things. And so people want to say that I have never been a depressed person. I have been a depressed person. I know how it feels. So I share this. And my intention is this: people who feel depressed, when they read this, they should feel a sense of relief.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
true.
Then
That's how you're trying to bring a difference
Yes.
to other people's lives.
And there are
right?
people who have lost their dear ones, and they don't know how to find solace. So I've written a poem called Solace, and it's also very close to my heart, because that's how we comfort ourselves. Try to find solace. So these are the things that are the inner working of the heart, the inner man.
Lately, you're also into short story
Yes.
writing. So what are the kind of stuffs, what are the themes or subjects that you're writing about?
Short stories, I've become quite I would use the word greedy. I'm like a greedy person who's trying to absorb in whatever I see. I see a story, I go through something, and then that become my, my storyline. So this is how I have already, and my own stories, the incidents that I have had,
Your
the
experiences.
encounters that I have had with strangers.
Right.
And so all those things I'm just
So when you write,
compiling.
So when you write, do you have a particular moment where you sit on your desk and write, or is it like random any day?
No,
Maybe 2 days you write at a stretch, and then the next 3 days you don't.
It's not like that. For
No.
me, it happens in the spur of a moment.
Okay.
And I'm very impulsive in that sense. If I don't write, I become restless. So in my phone, I have my note. So I write there. And sometimes I have to stop what I'm doing and write. Usually it's after breakfast, and I have to write. I feel like I need to write. I need to write about this, and then I'll just write. I just write, and then instantly I'll
Because
post.
you might just lose the train of thoughts later.
Yes, and instantly I'll post in my story in Instagram. I'm that kind of person. It will be there for 24 hours, and then later on I will, if I want to edit a little bit, I will do it, and then save the story.
Right.
So in that way, I continue. And if I don't write, I feel like something is amiss in me. So poetry has become like a friend to me.
Yeah, therapy.
Writing
right?
has, it's therapeutic. And if I don't write, I feel like something's, it's as if poetry is called, right? It's as if the words are calling me, come to me, come to me. I need to, I need to sit
Express.
with you. Yes, that's how I am.
I think I can make out you're a bit impulsive also.
Impulsive.
Yeah?
Quite impulsive.
But then all creative people don't really go through the general line. They are a bit different, right? They have to be different. Otherwise, they cannot be creative.
But it's not consciously.
Unconsciously.
It just happens.
Yeah, subconsciously. Right. We are almost coming towards the fag end. So, Bobita, in a few years from now, where do you think where do you look ahead to find yourself? More writing?
Yes, definitely more writing and exploring more. Now I'm just an author of two poetry books. I'd like to continue writing more. Now I'm delving into short stories and micro prose. Then perhaps a few years later I might do something else.
So what is it, as we are drawing, there are so many questions bubbling inside me, but time is always a constraint. But however, what I understood is that you are very determined also, that you could travel all the way, take the train, take the bus, take the cab, and then be here. So one advice, what would you like to give to all the people who are watching, the youngsters especially? You need to be a go-getter sometimes?
I feel like life is precious. This moment that I'm sitting here, once it's gone, it's not coming back. It's going to be a memory, a flashback memory for me. And I feel like we should make productive use. At the same time, not be so serious about life. Be adventurous. Enjoy the moment. I enjoyed my train journey. I enjoyed my taxi ride. I enjoyed the food. And I'm enjoying this moment here with you guys.
Wonderful.
And this is what life is all about. That we take life as it comes, but with intentions that are pure, not to harm others. Be good to yourself, forgive yourself, be good to yourself, be good to the world around you.
Wonderful.
And have purity in your heart.
Absolutely. Living in the moment, taking opportunities that comes your way, because that same opportunity may not knock your door the second time, right? It's been an absolute pleasure, Bobita Rai, talking to you. I'm just so hopeful to see your name more and more in the world, in the literary world. May you continue to grow, may you continue to write, may you continue to touch lives and take up, subjects and themes that really should be taken up. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you lots and lots of good luck.
Thank you so much. The words that you have shared, I'll take it as a prayer, as a blessing prayer for my life ahead. And as I said, I take one moment at a time, living in the moment, And I'm so thankful to everyone here, those who are working in the background.
It's our
Than
absolute
you. Yes.
pleasure. It's our absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you so much.
So, dear viewers, that's Bobita Rai for you. Yes, as I said, we contacted her and she came all the way, traveling really just for this program. And that's what she said. Life is lived in every moment and we need to savor it and go chase your dreams. So I hope you've enjoyed this conversation with us, and you'll be also joining us next time when we will be bringing another such personality before you for another beautiful program. Until next time, from the two of us here and from the entire crew of Doordarshan, for today, it's wishing you goodbye.